Hello, this is Khalid Azam, and I will be going over the new features that I've added for Sierra. Firstly, there is this button to toggle a cipher query, so you can just hide it out of view if you want. Additionally, there's a new method to resize the cipher query box using this button here, so you can make it as big or as small as you want, and of course, just hide it completely. So if I go ahead and paste a query in this, you can now delete nodes, which you couldn't do previously. So I can delete a product, and the good thing is that it will handle it will delete all the edges and the predicates, the joins, and everything related to that node. If I delete this node as well, so the next feature I want to focus on is the database selection menu. So as you can see, you can choose between all of the data sets here, and these are the Neo4j example demo data sets. So right now I'm on Northwind, so you can see the nodes, product, supplier, category, customer, and order. I can change it to the movies data set. And once it loads, you should see that the nodes should be of the movies data set. So it should be uh, movie and person. Now I'll focus on the hops box feature. So basically, if we have an edge between any two nodes, like we have right now, we can now choose to specify the number of hops between the source and destination. So what this means is between product and category, there is a total number of 2 hops to get from the product to the category, or rather the path length between the link of these two nodes is 2. So there are 2 modes for this. One is equality. So there is just this number. The number of path lengths is just one number. And the other mode is range. So this one is between this and this number. I can change this from this menu, but additionally, there are interactable sliders where I can increase and decrease these numbers individually, as well as replace them or type over them directly. So right now the minimum is smaller than the maximum, so you get this red tint notifying you that the range is not valid. And if you set the sliders to 1, then the box disappears because it's just the default value, and that it doesn't need to be displayed all the time. Now I'm inside of the movies database because this database contains example relationship properties. So I can open the relationship properties editor when I click on an edge, and here I can manage the number of hops, and it shows me the available properties. Here I can see 2 of them, summary and rating. For example, I say I choose rating. So these are all drop down boxes. There is no need to type anything yourself. I choose rating. This is the operators. So we have all of the operators for the property. Let's say I choose not equal to. And again, the value field is also drop down selectable. So you don't have to type in a single thing. I click add property and I click save. So immediately you can see the previous box here has appeared, and on the bottom of it we can see this relationship bubble, and when I hover over it, it shows me both the key and value. And as you can see here in the cipher query, we have added the rating where clause, and I can add multiple of these. So let's say the summary is equal to anything, and the colors are random as well. So it just keeps on stacking here, and when it gets big enough, then the sliders also increase in value of width to make the most of the space. And all of the relationship properties are linked together by ands because it's implicit and. Now, suppose I want to build a disjunctive normal form query in terms of a node's predicates. I can click the node, and there is this new DNF query builder option. I can add an OR clause, and I can choose between, these are the predicates of the clause, of the node actually, and you can choose between all of the operators and drop down for the values, and it gets added to the query, And I can choose to add another and inside of the same first clause, and it gets added. I can then add another or clause. So the representation for the DNF form is basically each of the or clauses is represented by a bubble inside of the node, and this keeps wrapping around inside the node. And when you hover over any or bubble, it displays the query for the or bubble inside of it. So as you can see, these are the two uh, conditions we added to this clause. So if we keep adding clauses, you can see after 4, it stacks on the top for better visibility. And as we keep adding it, there comes a point when it becomes a full circle. And if we add any more, then it just merges into one. And if we keep adding, then it neatly folds into itself. And it's easy to hover and see each of them. Now, the join feature existed in Sierra in the previous versions, but now when we have two predicates, we can drag from one to the other to create a join between them. But what's new now is that you have this new join menu, and you can choose between the join types. So this one is an equi-join, which means that the the two predicates are just equal to themselves. The other type is theta join. So in the theta join, you can choose what operator you want. There are many, so greater than, less than, and then not equal to. So you can choose between all of these operators in the two types of joins. And then there is also this new join view box, which shows you the type of join between two nodes. And when you hover over it, you can see the join. Here, I have a scenario where I have joined two predicates from product to one predicate to category. And for me, personally, it feels a bit confusing to keep up with what predicate is being joined to what with which type of join. So there's this join view box where it shows the links between all the nodes, and it shows at a glance the number of joins between the two nodes. So here, as you can see, there are two links, and it shows the number 2. And when you hover over it, you can actually see all of the joins. So it's all in one place. Another feature is if I take this category ID from product and join it to this picture predicate. So obviously the category ID and picture are two different types of data. So if I attempt to do this, you can see immediately in the join view box, I get an error between node A and C that category ID and picture have an error, and it says no matching values. So there's also this list button. If I press this, I can see all of the different joins in a list manner, and I can see which one has an error. I can go and edit it, which will pop up the menu which I had gone over earlier, and then I can also delete the join, because obviously this is not a valid join. As you can see, there is a warning to warn us of this. I can delete it from here, and the warning goes away. So here I have another example where I want to join product.categoryId to category.categoryId. I can join this, and I can see the join in the join view button. But if I add a reverse join from category to product, and I make this one a theta join with less than. So you can see here, the first one is equal to, the second one is less than. And I get a warning on both of them here that there are conflicting joins because obviously both the category IDs cannot be equal and less than each other at the same time. So you can get warnings for conflicting joins. Another of the implementation of this join box is that if I add a DNF query to a node, it appears as this little bubble on the bottom of the node. So if I add a clause here, you can see it gets added here. But again, if I add supplies not equal to 8, it will show me a warning sign because supply cannot be equal to 8 and not equal to 8 at the same time. So if you can imagine on a large scale with many other nodes, you can get instant feedback on whether what you are joining is right and whether the queries that you are building, for example, DNF queries, they are conflicting because of incompatible ranges or any other issue. So it kind of acts as your little guide between linking of two nodes, whether it be joins or any other property.